and many are greeted by beings on the other side. So I could do a whole show on this. I'm going to stop there, but essentially, yes, there's absolutely an afterlife. There's also reincarnation, and are aliens a part of it? Yeah, they are. On what level? I don't understand entirely. One interesting note, though, when someone who can speak with dead people, everybody seems to have somewhat different abilities. I can sure hear them. I can see somewhat visual things. Not like others can, though. When you're communicating with somebody who is dead, it's a sure bet that they have not yet reincarnated. Once they reincarnate, that process apparently is no longer available. So I hope that someone answers that, and that's something I'm going to keep a list of a topic to go into at further length in a show in the future. All right, I had a couple more questions. I'm not going to be able to get to them during the show tonight, but I will hang on to them for next week, and also we'll put up a forum link as well so people can ask questions for next week's show as well. So thank you very much for the questions, Space Chickens. And send more for next week. All right, guys, go check out our website, www.alienaddictions.com. You're listening to Party 93.4, and I'm the host of Alien Addictions, Alienphotog. We'll be right back. All right, Space Chickens, welcome back to Alien Addictions. That last song, of course, was Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day, which is a great song and also has a really interesting connection to who our guest is going to be next week. And as it ends up in many shows, I lied to you guys. I said we were going to get to the pyramids and go over some of that, but we're running towards the end of the show here, and I don't want to cover that partially, so we'll come back to talking about the pyramids and their potential relation to aliens, UFOs, and all that good stuff. But the big news coming out of Egypt this week was the head of Cairo University's archaeology department. His name is Dr. Ala Sahin. Had to say that within the Great Pyramid, there's something quote-unquote out of this world. So we'll talk more in the future about pyramids for sure. Also, I forgot in our video segment to point out possibly the greatest alien video that I've ever seen. And it's actually a user of the site, alienaddictions.com. He was kind enough to join. His name is David Eckhart. And go to alienaddictions.com to check out all these videos. I've got them all posted up under a forum thread. But we had David Eckhart actually on the Alien Addictions show. I believe it was back in March, and it was a great interview I had with him. And something that really gave me the chills when I was talking to David Eckhart. As an abductee, sometimes it really clearly checks out on the other end. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things you don't know. But it ends up that he had been told the exact same technique that I had been told to try to photograph or take videotapes of aliens, which was film into something that is reflective and circular. He ended up using a silver bowl, I believe, in his kitchen that he shot it on. So anyway, go check out David Eckhart's video too. His great video there. It's very, very short, and it was amazing. He said he left his camera running all night, I believe it was. And he came back and everything had been deleted from the camera. It should have been an hours-long clip, except for this tiny little piece of the little guy standing there. Incredible stuff. All right, coming up next week, we're going to have a really interesting show. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But I got a good friend of mine, his name is Chris Arms, to come on the show for next week. And Chris is a singer in a band and was actually in a band called Agent 51. His new band is called Rattlesnake Aces. But Agent 51 I thought was a hilarious idea for a band. And basically what these guys did was at different points in their career, they maintained this mythology that they were secret rogue agents and on the run from a government organization with ties to aliens, which is just absolutely awesome to me. So anyway, we'll put a couple of his videos up on the website there, his Agent 51 videos, and hopefully get some new Rattlesnake Aces songs coming up next week or uploaded onto our site. But Chris has a very long history in music, and it's something that I've maintained since I started doing this, that there are very strong ties to this, and musicians and singers in particular. And Chris agrees or thinks along these lines as well. So we're going to get to ask him some questions about what he thinks about it, what it's like for him to get these messages musically from alien sources. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the interesting tie that we have next week to Green Day's Boulevard of Broken Dreams was Agent 51, the band Chris was in, actually caught the eye of Green Day's frontman Billy Joe Armstrong, and he signed and re-released their album Just Keep Runnin' in 2001 on his record label. But something interesting ended up happening, and it ended in a lawsuit actually, that Chris managed to somehow come up with almost the exact same tune in a song that he was writing that Green Day had in Boulevard of Broken Dreams. And I've talked to Chris some about this, and I'll let him tell you all about it next week. But they both independently came up with almost the exact same tune, and I believe he said this happened a couple times. He doesn't believe that Billy Joe Armstrong was spying on him from what he said, and it was more of a deal where the record label that he was signed to at the time, their lawyers went and went after some money there. So, very interesting story about that, and we'll get to hear a little bit about music in terms of aliens, and how does the lyrics and music coincide with this topic. And this is something I talk about sometimes to get people rolling eyes, so next week's show should help kind of get that message through a little bit. And I always point out a great Tom Petty quote. Tom Petty said, "We don't write the songs, we just reach up there and grab them." So we'll find some other good quotes from musicians where they seem to be referencing this topic as well. So that'll be great next week. Come and check out the show next week for that. Go to our website, www.alienaddictions.com. We've always got people there to chat and talk in the forum with. And real quickly before we go, it has to be a short appearance tonight. Sorry, dude, I talked too long. Oh, ram it! Damn it, dude, you were just getting on the radio for the first time in a couple months, and you got to throw out damn immediately. Rory! That's all right, man. This is my dog, AP Dog, and he's on the show because I guess I like to talk in other voices. No, he's on the show because he can actually sniff out the aliens when they're around. Had some very weird experiences with him with that. But he wanted to jump in and say something real quick. What do you got to say, buddy? Raised chickens, right, just running to say, right, Ruvru, ran, rank you for all my birthday wishes. I'm 14 now, ran, I'm rowing up. Row, that's pretty rule, ran, right, can't rate for next week's row. Yes, you are 14. In dog years, 2 in human years. Same thing, apparently. He's been a real smart ass since he turned 14. It's been ridiculous. Mrs. AP and I actually have so many conversations going back and forth, speaking in quote-unquote dog. It's ridiculous. All right, dude. Thanks for swinging by at Row Roblin, and we'll maybe talk to you next week. Come back next week for a great show, guys. Go check out our website, alienaddictions.com. And AP Dog, I know you want to do it to end the show. Ready? On 3, buddy. 1, 2, 3. Aliens! Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.